Welcome to Madrid Direct. Today we'll share with you the second part of the conversation we had with Ms. Denyse Drummond-Dunn on her latest publication, Winning Customer Centricity. This time we'll put the focus on some of the examples, of which the book is full, on how to bring customer first theory into practice. The book is full of practical examples on how to bring a theory into practice when it comes to customer centricity. Could you choose one that is a good example of the message in your book, or if not, at least your favorite?
That's very difficult, Elena. There's so many great ideas in there, but if I had to choose one, it would be start with your customer in everything you do. Think customer first. And if you have meetings, start with maybe a photo of your customer. When you end meetings, say, what would the customer think about the decisions we've taken? So really try to think customer in everything you do and every day of your business life.
One of the inspiring quotes in the book I found particularly interesting was the one that said customer service shouldn't be a department but the entire company. Can customer centricity become an advantage and a competitive advantage?
That's also one of my favorite quotes, Elena. It was said by Tony Hsieh, who's CEO of Zappos, and they have actually built their business around customer service. And they have what they call their WOW philosophy, which is to put the customer first in everything they do. And they have a very original way when they hire people, whether it's an executive or somebody lower down in the organization. They actually spend time on their call center, actually talking to their customers. So that gives them a very good idea of what the customers think about the company, what their problems are, ideas for new products or new services. So he puts everybody through this, and I think it's a wonderful way of getting close to your customer. I'd recommend it to anybody that has a call center or products where the customer is calling in the company. Get everybody to talk to the customer. That's really great. So they've built the whole company around customer service. Another company that I think we all know that does the same is Amazon. And Jeff Bezos is also very well known for building the business on what customers think. We can give opinions and ratings of the products we buy, and that helps other customers to buy or not buy, to take the decision when they're looking for products. And of course it also makes business sense because you get the recommendations. If you bought one thing, Amazon will always suggest other things to buy. So it makes good business sense, but it also helps the customer when they're buying. So it's a competitive advantage for Amazon, and that's why they've done so well. The same for Zappos. They've really built their business around customer centricity. And those are just two examples, but there are many, many more.
My next question was, I was going to ask you to give another example of a global company that really puts customer centricity in the core of the business, not in theory, but in practice. Can you name one more example that gets it the way you write it in your book?
Yes, one of my favorites is actually Emirates Airlines. So there's a service company. Their product is flying people from A to B. So they, in a way you could say they don't have a physical product. But what they do is they look at their customers' emotions every step of the trip, from check-in to boarding to in the aircraft to landing and picking up their baggage. And they look at each of these steps in the process of dealing with their customers and look at the emotions, both positive and negative. And that way they can see where there are problems and issues and what they can do about it. And emotions are a very strong way a very powerful way to look at what customers are getting in terms of service, because of course if you're not happy with the service, you're going to be angry or disappointed, etc. So looking for those emotional points is a very good way to help the business. In the finance industry, the Bank of New Zealand, I've worked with them on actually developing a point of sale interactive site where customers can talk about or answer questions about their financial situation. And in fact, what we're doing is not looking so much at the answers to the questions as reading their facial expressions. And from that, we can tell where their emotions are maybe more negative. So if I ask a question, what do you think of your mortgage for your house? And somebody goes, yes, it's okay. Even though they said it's okay, you can tell from their facial expression that they're not very happy. So at the end of the interview, we don't really pay attention to the questions, but what we do is, perhaps it's time to talk to your bank manager about your mortgage because you don't seem to be very happy. And people say, hey, that's great, I never thought about it, but I'm not happy about it. So it's a powerful way of using emotions in a point-of-sale environment, in the same way as I said Emirates do for analysing their customer service on their routes.
At some point of your book, you say that customer centricity, it's a journey, not a destination. So what would be the next stop? What should readers do after finishing your book?
Well, when you finish the book, you start reading it again because, as I said, it's 50 chapters. But those 50 chapters are broken into 4 sections. And at the end of each section, there's a sort of summary of how well you've done, if you like. Have you taken that action or not? And at the end of the year, you spend a couple of weeks looking back over those summaries to see which are the areas you can improve for the coming year. So the thing is that it's a journey, it's a never-ending journey because consumers are changing. So even though what you did last year satisfied the consumers never stay satisfied for long. So at the end of the chapter, I would say go back and start again and look at the areas where you need to improve some more.
You mentioned before you consult with smaller companies. You founded your own company, C3 Centricity. Who are your customers and what services do you offer?
Well, I say that what I do is inspire vision, understanding and engagement with your customers. So in terms of vision, I help organizations improve their innovation. I help analyze big data because that's very much an area where companies have too much information rather than too little, but they don't have insights about their customers. In terms of understanding, well, I help them with their market research, again in pulling out the insights from the information they've got, as well as helping them to observe and listen to their customers. As I said, you don't need to do market research all the time. You can learn a lot about your customers just by watching and listening to them. And then in terms of engagement, I help them in terms of their communications. I help in terms of their websites and their call centers to really improve the connection between their customers and the company. So the 3 areas, and in French, as you know, I live in Switzerland, vision, understanding and engagement is vue, which means to see. And I help the companies to see how to grow their businesses and grow their brands.
And last question, finally, correct me if I'm wrong, I think you called the format of the book one day book, no? And if I'm not mistaken, you're working on the next one already. What can you tell us about it?
Yes, I am. The winning series is designed to be a series of books in the same format, quick to read, easy to read, and quick to action. So very practical guides. And the second, I'm actually working on the second and third at the moment. The second one is on insight development, because I found a lot of companies, as I said, have too much information, but not enough insight. I'm often quoted as saying, we're drowning in data and starving for insight or thirsting for insight. So that's my second priority. And then I'm also working on a third one in the series called Winning Innovation. Because again, customers don't stay satisfied for long, so innovation is absolutely vital for a business to stay vibrant and to grow.
Denyse Drummond-Dunn, thanks very much.
Thank you very much, Elena, and thank you for inviting me.
That's it for today. Thanks to Ms. Denyse Drummond-Dunn for sharing her views with us. I'll see you in the next edition of Madrid Direct.